My view is that if they can come up with something better that actually works, and a year or two after they've replaced the Affordable Care Act with their own plan, that 25 million people have health insurance and it's cheaper and better and running smoothly, I'll be the first ones to say that's great.
That was the president this afternoon commenting on his signature achievement and saying if Trump and Republicans can do better, go for it. But the guy who designed Obamacare, he's saying it sounds good, but it's a lot harder to actually do it than just talk about it. We spoke with Jonathan Gruber. He's professor of economics at MIT. He's also the architect of Obamacare. You know, Professor, before I get into what the president-elect said last night on 60 Minutes, I wanted to get to something that he said as then candidate Trump in the second presidential debate, because he actually called you out by name. I want you to take a listen, then you tell me if you think Obamacare has done more good than bad for this country.
Jonathan Gruber, the architect of Obamacare, he said it was a great lie. It was a big lie. President Obama said you keep your doctor, you keep your plan. The whole thing was a fraud, and it doesn't work.
Obamacare has definitely worked more than it hasn't. If you look at what Obamacare was designed to do, it was not designed to fix all ills in the healthcare world. It was designed to basically leave people alone who had employer-provided insurance, which it does. And for people who didn't have access to insurance through their employer, it was designed to provide them fair, non-discriminatory, affordable health insurance, which it's done, resulting in about 20 million people gaining health insurance, and also significantly lowering overall health care costs in our country.
Now, Professor, I want to get to what President-elect Trump said last night on 60 Minutes. In effect, he said that you can have it both ways. You want to keep your kid on your coverage till they're 26, you can keep on doing that. If you had a pre-existing condition, you won't be discriminated against anymore, we'll keep that. Basically, you can have your cake and eat it too. Is he right?
You can't have it both ways. So let's break this down a little bit. Keeping kids on to 26 you can do, and anybody will do that, and that's fine. That's a minor part of the law. That's easy to keep. Everything else is impossible to keep as a piece because it's one integrated whole. I like to think of Obamacare as sort of a three-legged stool. What everyone wants is insurance markets to be fair, to not allow insurers to discriminate against the sick, like they can in any other country in the world except ours. What that means, however, is you need to promise insurers that people will buy health insurance when they're healthy. And the only way to do that is to have an individual mandate so that people come into the market and have subsidies so that health insurance is affordable. You can't just tell insurers to offer insurance to everyone at the same price if you don't bring the healthy into the market. And that's not just idle theoretical speculation. 7 states, including New York, tried to do this in the 1990s, and in every single case it failed massively.
There's no way, is there, Jonathan, to mandate in more than word but in deed the major carriers. In the end, they don't have to carry or even offer insurance if they don't want to, right?
That's exactly right. And that's what happened in New York and Massachusetts and other states that tried to do this. Look, it seems like a great idea. Just tell insurers they can't discriminate. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Well, the problem is insurers say, look, if you tell me I can't discriminate, but you let people wait until they're sick to buy health insurance, I'm going to lose money. So I'm out of here. And the insurers will exit the market and the market will collapse, which is exactly what we saw in New York and Massachusetts and other states.
So what did it tell you the day after the election? You saw a record number of people signing up for health care. And moreover, the idea that somehow, whether it's repeal and replace or just repeal, that magically no one's going to get dropped. Everyone will still have health insurance, especially since we've seen how Washington has worked. What are your worst fears and also your biggest hopes that the rhetoric and the reality of how it shakes out?
You know, my saying post-Tuesday is fear the worst and hope for the best. Look, there is no way that there's any Republican alternative that will not result in a massive increase in the number of uninsured and a massive reduction in the financial security of Americans. There's simply not. So my hope is that Republicans, now that they actually are responsible for government, will realize that they do enormous damage to the country by repealing this law, and that they'll do some minor things around the edges, but they'll recognize this is a law that's working, it's providing insurance coverage to people, and we should not be throwing the whole thing away.
Finally, I have friends in the healthcare industry on the hospital end in terms of management. They're freaking out right now because they've built all these systems in place to accommodate the ACA, And it's like moving around a massive ship here. It takes a long time to accommodate radical changes. Is there a consideration as well that, I know this isn't a sexy question, but from the operational end, we're not remotely equipped to have a major change in the plan? It was hard enough to catch up when the legislation finally got passed, but now to do a 180, that's equally problematic.
Well, I think you raise a great point. First of all, why would you want to? Healthcare costs have grown at their slowest level in measured history since Obamacare passed. Okay, those with employer-sponsored insurance today are paying $3,100 less than they were expected to pay at this point before Obamacare passed. Why would you want to turn that ship around? Hospitals and healthcare providers are making amazing, innovative changes to deliver quality healthcare at lower prices. It would be terrible to essentially reverse those steps, which is what Trump would do if he repeals Obamacare.
Professor, I appreciate a few minutes. It's going to be a fascinating next 100 days in Washington. Again, that's Jonathan Gruber. Thanks again.
You bet. My pleasure to be here.
All right, up next, everybody, healthcare. One of the things that President-elect Trump is already changing his position on from the campaign to now President-elect. We're going to take a look at the others and what it might mean to you.